Hello and welcome to How to Animate in the Unreal Development Kit. My name is David Tyner from Treadster Media, and I'm going to be walking you through how to very basically, like the basic baby version of how to create a animation sequence inside of Unreal Development Kit. Alright, so I guess the best place to get started is to download it. Because you can't really do much if you don't have the software. So open up your favorite browser. My favorite browser is Chrome, of course. And you see where I like to go. And we're going to go to, we're just going to search UDK. First thing that comes up, Unreal Development Kit, Epic Games, download UDK. Bam, just click that, bring you to this screen, and every month they release a new beta. So basically this is free for everyone to download and use. And every month they take user feedback and then they fix what's wrong. And as you can see, they have all these previous versions. We're up to May now. I'm actually using January's or December's. Yeah, I'm using December's just because I'm doing some projects where I don't want to upgrade just yet. Anyway, you click on that and it'll start downloading. When it's done downloading, then you install it. Okay, now once you have the Unreal Development Kit installed, you're going to want to open up the editor, and you do that by going to Start All Programs, UDK, Unreal Development Kit, and whatever version you downloaded will be here. In this case, I'm using this one. So you want to open the editor. And after just a brief moment, that will open. You have your tooltips that open up, and you can turn them off by deselecting that if you like. And your content browser opens up. We're going to close that for now. And then you'll see, excuse me, you'll actually see a screen that looks a lot like this. And it's got your 4 viewports in it. You have your, geez, I don't even know because they're not listed, but basically they're top, side, and perspective. Okay, and I generally work with the perspective a lot, although definitely each one has its place and its value. But I'm going to work with this perspective viewport, and I'm going to work with it in a maximized mode. And so to maximize it, you're going to go ahead and click this Maximize Viewport button, and that gives us a little more real estate to look at, play with, move around in. Speaking of moving around, let's figure out that right now because that's pretty important. Okay, so it's really basic. All you do is to move forward, you hold the left mouse button and move forward. To turn, you just go left or right, up and back. To look around, you're going to press and hold the right mouse button. And that's not going to move you anywhere, but it's going to rotate you from where you're standing. All right, to go up and down, you're going to hold both mouse buttons. You go up and down. All right. And that's movement, pretty basic. So you got all these buttons all over the place. They all do certain things. All these guys over here are to do with level building. We're not really going to get into level building today, so I'm not really going to get into that. What you're staring at right here is called your builder brush. Again, you would use that to build levels, build parts of levels, floors, ceilings, buildings, whatever. But like I said, that's not really to do with what we're going to do today, so we're not really going to look at it. If you go across the top here, you have the real-time toggle. You'll see that. We'll cover that later, but you'll see that in action, and that'll make sense rather than me trying to explain to you what it is. And then you have your wireframe view. You have your brush wireframe view. This is called a brush. If I were to go ahead and add this guy, you can see its boundaries by clicking on that guy. If you wanted to see it in true wireframe mode, then you would click on that guy. Unlit mode, which would be this with no lighting applied. Even if there's lights in the scenes, it'll show it up. It'll show up as being very flat, and you'll see an example of that a little later. And then lit mode, which there's no lights in the scene, so when it's in lit mode, nothing's happening. If I want to add a light here, right, now lit mode shows appropriate shadows and things like that. Lighting only. All right, this is for if you want to tweak the lighting to get it just right, and not be misled by any textures that might be on there. That's a good one for tweaking the lighting. All right, the rest of these guys don't really matter for the tutorial. In fact, these guys don't even matter for the tutorial, but I figured we just hit some user interface. Okay, and these are for the viewport. So these are viewport specific buttons. All right, up here we have the usual new, open, save, save all, undo, redo. Your selection mode. Okay, so for example, if I have that selected right now, these cross arrows let me move everything. If I have this selector selected, then I can select things, but I can't move them. Okay, so the movement one does that. The rotation, okay, you can see creates this rotation gizmo that lets you rotate. All right, scaling mode lets you scale up or down. And then uniform scale lets you scale on a specific axis. All right, well, lighting's a bad one to do on that one. But there, like for your builder brush, it'll scale that way or just that way. Whereas if you do this one, it'll do the whole thing. All right. All right, so I have my AP1000 text here. And if I were to rotate that around, like right now it's on its local axis. So if I rotate that, it's going to stay on its local axis. So if I move it, okay, it's going to move on its local axis. But if I keep it on the world axis, then it's going to move like that. Okay. All right. So that's what that is. Your search allows you to search for any actors. When you get a really complex map, this can have, you know, hundreds or thousands of items in here, and this search becomes very critical. We have the content browser, which I showed you briefly, which we'll go into in depth a little later, what that means. We have the Kismet, which is the visual scripting tool that Unreal uses. So you don't really have to be a programmer to start to put stuff together. You can do it visually through this really cool tool they have. Matinee, which lets you create movies, which is what we're going to be using today. And the rest of these guys, we'll be using this one a little bit. Rebuilding geometry, not so much. But we'll save that for a later tutorial. Okay, so that is the basic version of your user interface layout here. So now let's hop into the content browser and see what's going on in there. Thanks.